Winning one Champions League is the ultimate prize for a club, but we're going to win all three by completing a pentagon challenge. The goal of the challenge is to win all three of the Champions Leagues on FIFA, plus the MLS, and then the World Cup with an African team. But here's the twist. I won't be picking any of the teams I'll be using. Of course, that would be way too easy. Instead, we'll use ChatGPT to pick our route, our style of play, and loads more, proving that robots can be the ultimate assistant manager. So, which continent are we conquering first? Over to ChatGPT. Well, it looks like we're starting in Brazil, and what a team to be given. Starting in the Libertadores, if we win here, we can wipe off South America straight away. So let's find out what tactics we're going to be using. I think this tactic works really well with this squad, and my god, the squad looks unreal. David Luiz, Gabigol, Arturo Vidal, and two wingers called Everton. There's no reason we can't go all the way. But ChatGPT isn't done just yet. We also have another 2 goals to do in this season. We need to win the Serie A, which is the Brazilian First Division, and find a player with over 88 potential. Now, 88 potential isn't super rare, so we'll be sending our scouts out to Brazil, Chile, and Uruguay. And oh my god, look at this first month's scouting report. It's a real shame we're going to be moving around clubs, because I would love to use these guys for a long time. But back to the present day. Technically, the AI never said we actually have to find a player with youth scouts, so why don't we steal Brazil's hottest prospect before he joins Real Madrid from our rivals, Endrick. Welcome to Rio de Janeiro. Of course, with the hype behind him, we had to put him in for this first game in the Libertadores, but would he repay our faith? Well, he scored after 9 minutes, he scored in the 21st minute right here, and then he scored again in the 23rd minute to make it a 23-minute hat-trick on your debut as a 16-year-old. Of course, we were totally dominant in the Libertadores, destroying basically all of these smaller teams, but with play like this, it was no doubt we were going to get quite far in the tournament. Brilliant passing play straight to Barbosa into the side netting. It's a shame we've not been this dominant in the actual league matches, because we are actually struggling quite a bit. Hopefully we could turn things around in this game against Palermo, because you have to beat them if you want to win the league. And we came incredibly close to doing so, hitting the post in the 28th minute, and a really good save there from Weatherton, keeping us out in the 85th minute. But it was finally time to turn our focus back to the Libertadores round of 16. We got drawn with a really weak team, so we were expecting to win this one quite easily. A really good June meant that we were actually going to be in the top 4 going into the second half of the season. We did get really lucky with our draw in the Copa Libertadores though. All the strong teams are on the other side of the draw, so we'd only really be facing them in the final. As expected, we came out strong, Gabriel Barbosa putting us ahead after a penalty in the 9th minute. We'd get a couple of other chances, but we would easily win 6-0 on aggregate to get through to the quarterfinals of the Libertadores. And even better, it looked like we were bringing our form and our luck with us into the league. Somehow we beat the goalkeeper and tucked it away into an empty net. This goal from Gabriel Barbosa would be the one that actually officially put us into first place in the league, overtaking Palermo, but they have got a game in hand. We were going to have to play a lot of games in August though. We had back-to-back games 2 weeks in a row. We'd be lucky if we could do anything against Santos and Internacional after playing Nacional in the Libertadores semi-finals just 1 day before. It seemed like the best idea we could think of was to try and promote as many of our youth academy players as we could, just so we could at least get 11 fit players on the pitch at any time. Of course, our main goal this season is to try and win the Libertadores, so we put our strongest team out against the Uruguayan champions Nacional. We got a couple of early chances that maybe we could have curled in the far corner, but unfortunately for us, neither of them came off. Just before half-time though, Pedro storms through one-on-one, tries to step over around the goalkeeper, and another really lucky ricochet bounces to Pedro, and Flamengo would win the first leg 2-0. You can see how tired our players were for the game against Santos, but it didn't matter. We end up losing the Santos game, but with a 2-0 lead in this one, that's all that mattered. Endrick would get through on goal, and he would basically finish the tie. With 30 minutes gone, we were 3-0 up. Another goal would basically mean we could sub our entire team off and prepare them for the Internacional game. That's exactly what Barbosa did from the penalty spot. Another Endrick man of the match performance and another 4-0 aggregate win, this time in the quarterfinals of the Libertadores. Next up, Colo Colo in the semi-finals. It was going to be our captain Arturo Vidal against his boyhood club. He came through the academy here in Chile. He was going to have to beat them in the semi-finals if he wanted a final match against Palermo or Boca Juniors. But if there's one player it doesn't seem like actually feels any kind of pressure, it's Endrick. He is still 16 years old on the game, And he's doing finishes like that to put us ahead in the semi-finals of a continental competition. Of course, we aren't just Endrick FC, we do have Barbosa as well, proving that he is just as good even if he is about 10 years older. Colo Colo would get a chance here though, but it was a really good save from Santos. By now we know that 3-0 basically kills the game, so when Endrick walked into the box and smashed it home, we knew we were in the final of the Libertadores. We didn't really have to consider much about the second leg other than which team we would prefer to face. I think Boca Juniors are the worst of the two teams, but either way it was going to be a really tough final. But before we can even think about the final, we've got to finish off our league matches with just a couple of games left. It's important for us to get as many points as possible. We also probably scored our goal of the season. I mean, just look at that hit. We ended off the season with 2 wins and a draw from our last 3 games, which brought us all the way up to 4th in the table. Briefly, we were around 6th to 7th, and we could have possibly come 2nd in the league. Those back-to-back games probably cost us in the long run. Anyway, it's final time. So suddenly the big day was here. It's now time for the final of the Copa Libertadores. And I have to be honest, this is actually the first time I've ever done this final. I've won the Sudamericana, I've won the Champions League, the Europa League, but never the Libertadores. So this is all new for me, as I'm sure it is for a lot of you guys as well. There is the trophy. Hopefully our team will be lifting this in just 90 minutes time against Brazilian rivals Palmeiras. There's the 2 routes to the final and we're ready for kickoff. Right, early free kick for us here. We're going to go near post along the floor hopefully. Oh, goalkeeper just gets across in time. Good shot though. Right, can we turn here? Everton Ribeiro. He's got Pedro. Pedro is through. Pedro 1-on-1. Ball roll. Slots it in. Coolly finished. So just before half time, it's 1-0. Really good finish in the final. Endrick unfortunately injured, so we are playing Pedro, but he is a much higher rated player, and proving why there. Time for a Palmeiras attack. Looks like we did actually make contact in the box. Good job he didn't go down. Everton's been taken out right there. Felipe Luis is on the charge, but half time though, 1-0 up. We'll take that for sure. Time to make some substitutions though. We are getting a little bit tired. Maybe get David Luiz on for some big match experience. Barbosa's injured. So that's our 2 top scorers both out injured for this game in Endrick and Barbosa, but still 1-0. Everton, he's found Pedro again. So Pedro through 1-on-1. If he can score here, it might be game over. Drags it just wide. Should be doing better there, Rear Pedro. He's got like 86 finishing. Palmeiras in the attack now. Tabata finds Almasi. David Luiz is trying to cover the space, but big gap's been left by them. Tabata's through 1-on-1. Good save from Santos. Almaty tries to get there, but Luis somehow blocks him off. Another attack now for Palmeiras. Just 20 minutes to go. Ronnie, he's been taken out. Looks like a foul there from David Luiz. It could be a red card. It could be a penalty. What is the referee going to do? No card at all. I am very surprised with that because that looked like a clear goal-scoring opportunity. But is it inside the box? No, it's just on the outside of the box. How lucky have Flamengo got there? But it's a free kick here. Ronnie runs over the ball. Goes near post. The goalkeeper just about keeps it in. Hit the post, I think. Another free kick given away by David Luiz. Are they going to do a trick play again? Nope. Ronnie's going to hit it. Oh my gosh. That's gone in from 35, 40 meters out. In the cup final, that's got to be one of the best goals of any Copa Libertadores final ever. Good dribble here from Henrique. He's got past 2 of his players. Can he pull it back? Oh, there was a man waiting, but he couldn't get there in time. Oh, is there going to be one last chance here for Palmeiras? Pulls it back to Ronnie. Ronnie to Viega. His curling effort misses the post by millimeters. You can see why he's furious. His team's nearly lost it, but they have taken Palmeiras to extra time now in the Libertadores final. Aresquia. He goes around the goalkeeper. It's an open net. From a really tight angle, he's managed to just squeeze it in. A great through ball from Everton Ribeiro. And it's yet again another lead for Flamengo in this final. Gerson finds Felipe Luis, the 37-year-old. Can he finish the game? He tries to pull it across. Rebounds back to him. That's exactly where Gabriel Barbosa would have been. What a shame he's gone off injured because it probably would have been 3-1. Right, 100 minutes into this game now. Palmeiras on the attack. They're running down the right. Goalkeeper saves it, but it rebounds straight to Navarro. He volleys it in from an equally tight angle. Very similar to the goal Flamengo just scored. And it's 2-2 in the final yet again. Arrascaeta, he gets through on goal yet again. He stops though. Pulls it back to Gerson. How has he missed that? From the penalty spot, he's really going to be hitting the target at the very least. And it's going to go to a penalty shootout. Biggest game in South American football, going to a penalty shootout. It's all down to the goalkeepers. Now, Palmeiras missed their first penalty and Flamengo score. So it's 1-0 to Flamengo. Next up, Lopez chips it down the middle, makes it 1-1, but they have had an extra penalty. Flamengo restore their lead 2-1 now. Next up, Mauro Jr., another chip down the middle. Very audacious kind of penalties here. Luis steps up and it's saved. Palmeiras go ahead for the first time. Gerson, he missed that easy chance at the end, but scores his penalty. So one more before sudden death. Tabata steps up. It's saved. What a save from Santos. So that means this penalty goes in. Flamengo are South American champions. He's got the run-up. He's got the confidence. He's got the goal. He is the hero. Bruno Henrique could have won it in normal time, but he has won it in the penalty shootout. And Flamengo are winners of the Copa Libertadores. What a final that is. One of my favourite finals I think I've ever done. We might not have done both of the little secondary objectives, but we have won the continental competition, so we will be heading to a different continent for the next season, which will be coming out very soon on this channel. Of course, we did get the 88 potential player that we wanted. We didn't win the league, but still, just seeing Felipe Luis at 37 years old lifting this trophy is worth the effort that it took to win the Copa Libertadores with Flamengo. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. Subscribe so you don't miss the other 4 continents as we get them done. And thank you for watching. Cheers and goodbye.